Hi, everybody. This is Jeff Overture from WTFradio.me. Today's guest, I've got a former world-rated kickboxer, Alan Kelly, and I'm glad to have you on the show today, Kelly. How you doing?
Well, I'm doing great, man. Thanks for inviting me over.
Cool. Well, why don't you tell the people out there a little bit about your background in martial arts?
Well, probably 1975, 76 is when I first started training. I was in high school at the time, and my original background is Taekwondo. I actually am Dale Cook's very first black belt, the first guy he promoted to black belt. Dale and I promoted some of the fights, the Tulsa Stars kickboxing in Tulsa in the 1970s. I think 1977, March 13th or March 11th, if I remember correctly. I was the first pro kickboxing fight in Oklahoma history. So I kind of fought actively for over 20 years and ran my schools and gyms for over 30 years. And now I'm competing in pro bass tournaments.
Well, so what were the correlations between? So did you? What was your history? Did you said you started out in kickboxing? Is that right? And then later on you went into point karate, sport karate. Is that correct?
I started out in a traditional Taekwondo system, and I fought a few tournaments when I was an underbelt. Dale and I. Dale wanted to promote kickboxing events. He wanted to get involved with the PKA and that type of kickboxing events, and so did I. So we were training together. Dale was my instructor along with Kelly Hogan. And when Dale started promoting the fights, we kind of did everything from the seat of our pants. You know, we had no budget to work with. Actually, I guess you could say we had a budget, but we had nothing to fill that budget with. So we kind of pieced it together and learned as we went. Well, I think Dale was like 19 years old, and I was still 17, and it was a pretty interesting process. So basically, I started out fighting in kickboxing events, fighting in the ring on a regular basis, long before I ever did any tournament fighting as a black belt. Like I said, I had a few tournaments as an underbelt, but then as a black belt, it was several years before I started doing that after doing the kickboxing fights.
So you had a pretty fluent background as far as instructors and people you trained with. What's your history about who you trained with and where and all that history?
It was a pretty interesting